Hello and welcome to Move the Line Prop Drop Show presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. I'm Ryan Noonan, back to talk about the best way and the most profitable way to bet on NFL football with my friends Connor Allen and John Hyslop. We're here to talk about player props live here 3 p.m. Eastern every Friday, favorite hour of the week. We are live here on the 4for4 Bets YouTube channel. We are here to give out our favorite player props and to take your questions. So if you are hanging out with us now on YouTube, again, 4for4 Bets YouTube channel, you can find us on Twitter as well. Jump in the chat. Let us know what your favorite prop is this week. If we have time at the end, we will get to as many questions as possible. Trying to fly through this here, give you guys the goods. I'm feeling good about week 2. We were real close to some real good stuff last week. Some good stuff did happen, but some of the uncorrelated stuff was just real close. So, Connor, what's going on, man?
Nothing. It was an awesome week 1. Had my best week 1 ever. Went 11-3 on official plays. That was with losing Gardner Minshew by half a pass attempt, with losing Ezekiel Elliott by half a rushing yard. Obviously, we got bailed out a little bit there with David Montgomery running all very pure in overtime there. But he should have had it already. He should have had that before, but they didn't give him a carry in the entire fourth quarter or the all except the third quarter. I think it was 4 minutes in was the last carry in the game. So definitely it could have been literally a perfect week, but I will definitely take 7.5, 8 units to start the season.
Cannot be a threesome without a third. That's our boy John Hyslop at Slop Rules on Twitter. What's going on, bud?
What's up, guys? Just living the dream, man. I was telling Connor backstage that I actually profit on week 1, which I never do. Never do. Literally, you can go back every single week 1 since I was 7 and just never profit on week 1. But we made it. I think it's because of you guys. I'll be honest with you. It's because of you guys. Hats off. Nice work.
Love that.
Help me out big time. Well, also in Jameson Williams. So besides him too.
Well, he's basically if we had a fourth on the show,
it
would be Jameson Williams.
Literally. I mean, we're trying to get him on, but
friend of the show.
That's gonna happen.
It's probably not gonna happen, just considering his past. Seems like
give it a few years, after he retires.
Yeah, seemed like a bad business decision.
It's the Bill Belichick tour, joining all these shows. It can be the Jameson Williams tour, maybe not the same level of impact, but same level of impact to us because he,
to us, yes.
Yeah, he holds a place in our heart. Well, maybe mine and yours, probably not Noonan's. Noonan's born and bred New Englander who loves the Patriots more than anything. So,
come on.
I think Noonan's
that's not even true anymore.
I think he's on Sunday night in our chat on Twitter right there. JMO got him. So I was like, man, he's watching JMO. He loves him.
Yeah, we were so close, man, because we had the under 3.5 catches over the yards. He hit that, and then we just needed Cooper Kupp to blow up. Puka was out of the game. Kupp blew up, and then Jim was just so damn good. He caught 2 extra balls.
That's the problem. He's just too good. That's the problem. The issue with it. He's no longer an uncorrelated guy because he was the perfect one too last year. I
think we got another perfect one. He might have come up with this week.
Okay. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready for him.
Pretty sure Connor and I are both circling the wagon on that one, but I think it will not be a hard sell for you, Slop, for you to get on the wagon. So,
I'm already in.
Love it. I want to remind folks, 2 episodes of Move the Line each week. This is Prop Drop on Fridays. On Wednesdays, you can check out our game preview. It's usually Connor, myself, and a guest. We had Ed Bang at the Power Rank on this week. That was a great episode previewing some of that stuff. We were all on Buffalo for last night on Thursday night. So good stuff in there. And then it's at the end of the show too. So you don't even have to worry about skipping Thursday night. You can listen to kind of the meat and potatoes at the front. If you want to talk about sides and totals, check out Move the Line wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to get all the official plays, we're going to put out some plays here before we even talk about them here in the show. They're going into our Discord at 4for4 for our betting subscribers. If you want to get the betting subscription to get in there, get all the plays before those lines move a little bit. Start to move pretty quick depending on what the market is. And again, the betting sub gets you access to everything that we do at 4for4. So every article, tool, all the rankings, projections, if you play DFS, redraft, best ball, no matter what it is, it's covered in there. Again, if you just want really good data tools and do your own research, we have all that for you as well on the site. Lots of cheap ways to get access to it too. You can head over to our Twitter account at 4for4football. I can find lots of different ways to deal with some of our affiliate partnerships. We have a lot of those. We are a betting subscription. We sell a product and we have deals with other companies out there. And lots of different ways to do it and get access to what we do for really, really cheap. So check it out. If you have any questions, reach out to us directly. I want to help make sure we find the right fit for you, and happy to do that. So, all right, guys, live lines all available for you to bet right now. No stale bread. We want to make sure people can get the best of the number, best of the line here. Again, jump in the chat. Let us know what you want to talk about at the end. I think we have some loose corollaries for our first plays across the board here. This can end up being some sort of same game parlay, sprinkling in a offense in 3 different ways. Connor, I'll give you the floor first to get us started.
Yeah, first official play here. I'm going with Jared Goff over 269.5 passing yards. You can find 268 on Builder, FanDuel, a couple other spots as well. But, company man here, DraftKings, I think still has a solid price, 269. This is fine. He's going to throw for 300 plus. I'm also taking the alt. He has shredded Todd Bowles' defense each of the last 2 matchups here, 287 and 353. They play a ton of too high, ton of zone. Goff's completed 72% of his passes against zone. Bucks will be without Antoine Winfield. A few of their other corners were dinged up. It looks like they're going to play, but again, still not a defense that I'm necessarily afraid of. Now we also saw this Lions team last week. They unleashed the beast of Jameson Williams. They're running him on drags. They're getting him into space. They are just like taking off the reins here. It's going to be electric. I'm excited. Like, we saw a good game last week for them, and you see the dog's howling too, baby. I mean, we're cooking here. This is we didn't even see a good game last week from Amon-Ra and Laporta, and Jameson popped up. I think all 3 of them could go off in this instance here, where we should probably get some good pushback from this Bucks passing offense. Still looks good.
Give me 1 second, guys.
Dogs love it though too, and that's confirmation bias. I think that worked last week too. I could not agree more. Slop's going to be in the same spot. I'm going to jump him here because it's in the same vein. You highlighted why Goff is going to pop off. That is because we are going to hammer Jameson Williams' longest reception. This is right in my wheelhouse, over 21.5 yards. You could find this on DraftKings at -115, FanDuel as -114, Rivers, Caesars, MGM, widely available price here on 21.5 for Jamo. I mean, look, Connor kind of outlined it, but like specifically, if you want to dig into the weeds of this prop at 21.5, he's topped this line in 4 of his last 5, including the divisional round last year in the playoffs against the Bucks, where he only had 2 catches for 24 yards in that spot. So he topped it in that one. And again, most of those in 4 of the last 5 were like limited snap share, limited target share. But last week, 94% of the routes run on Goff's dropbacks, 5 catches on 9 targets. And then the matchup specific stuff too. Bucks allowed the 4th highest rate of explosive pass plays on the league. Last season, last week against the Commanders, they really weren't a team to take advantage of it, but they actually did have some deep ball shots too. Todd Bowles loves to blitz. And then obviously you blitz, you leave the secondary exposed, you don't get home, and you're ripe for the picking. And now you have a secondary this year that doesn't have Carlton Davis. He's actually in Detroit. He's his teammate now. And now you have Antoine Winfield, arguably the best safety in the entire league, primarily plays deep to stop this kind of stuff. He's out. He hurt his foot last week. So absolutely premier spot for Jamo to actually hammer here, can get Goff over at the same time. So love Jamo over 21.5.
All in.
Keep it going, Flop.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I mean, you know what I'm doing. Like the only question is like, how high do you go? And
I like going
right
high,
now,
so.
50 plus is plus 110. It's minus 102 now. It was just plus 110. So I mean, we're gonna have to go a little higher. I did 50 plus 110 this morning, but it was just there. So one of you guys just did that. So someone did it. So you guys must have been talking about Jameson while I was gone. But well, you go 70 plus 215. That's not crazy. I'm telling you, like, that was not a fluke. I know that was his first 100-yard game ever, but that's not a fluke, dude. Like, that guy is legit. And with Sun God out there, Laporta, there's you really got to kind of pick your poison when you play them. Now, on top of that, like, Tampa might be like a baby pass funnel too. So there is that. Maybe they also put up points on Detroit, so now we can get a little shootout going. Like, this has everything you need for JMO, to go as high as you want him to go. But I mean, 70 plus 215 feels relatively safe. I mean, if you wanted to, 100 plus is plus 520. That's not ridiculous.
No,
that's not like it's not.
Yeah, especially if you like the Bucks, right? To your point, like we get the Bucks to push back a little bit, and that's definitely right for the pick. And they've kind of feels like they've always been a little bit in this era. The Todd Bowles team's kind of been a pass funnel squad anyway. Like the run D is never like. I mean, they've had a couple of years where they were elite. I don't think it's an elite run D this year per se, but they definitely, especially without Winfield in the back end. Carlton Davis is gone. It's a young secondary. So yeah, I mean, I think it's
good
a
enough.
great spot.
Run D wise, you know what I mean? Like it's one of those where you're like, all right, they're not bums, you know what I mean? I'm just gonna run all over them, but at the same time, like they're not the best unit in the NFL. So we give them baby pass funnel, just a little boy pass funnel.
Yeah,
but that's good enough for JMO.
Good enough for JMO. JMO, Goff, all tied together. Absolutely love it. Some of the big play stuff, and I think the big play stuff works better for Goff too here, just in case the game gets sideways a little bit and you have like a lower attempts thing and it becomes like a lot of Damon Montgomery. Like the big play stuff that JMO can do is going to help Goff get there as well. So love how it's all kind of tied together. All right, so that's 3 bets. We're off. Even 12 minutes in, we already got 3 bets. All the pleasantries at the top, and we boom.
See, it's not a good thing though, because it's going to leave more time for us to make just wild parlays. So maybe it's a good thing, maybe it's not a good thing. I don't know, but we'll see. We won some though last week. We had Tim came in here, the Lazard and Mike Williams uncorrelated parlays. I need air. We were betting those in the Discord. We took Mike Williams under 2.5 receptions, and then Lazard 3, 4, 5 receptions, because obviously they were somewhat correlated, but not prices correlated, and they all smashed. Shout out to Tyrod and Rodgers for just force feeding Lazard, even though he stinks. So that was kind of
all right, well, back to the top, Connor. We've all shared one. People can make a same-game parlay with that if they like. You can't typically add longest reception to same-game parlays, but I think obviously, you want to splash a little bit like Slot did with, some alts on JMO. I think that makes a ton of sense. So, Connor, back to you. I feel like just, last year we were kind of doing like, normal stuff, bonkers, normal stuff. Let's just get all the normal stuff out of the way.
Yeah.
And we'll come back at the end and we'll just start, shooting from the hip. So give me another normal one, Connor.
The issue is that a lot of my like bonkers ones like involve the normal stuff now, so like,
yeah, I get it.
Like that's what I worry about, because then I'm like, well, I don't want the chat going off and then blowing up the line here before we all get a little piece of it.
Do whatever you want. All
right. So I'm gonna rip another over and alt here. So I'm going with Deebo Samuel over 52.5 receiving yards, over 70 receiving yards on DK, over 90.5 receiving yards. So this is, pretty deep in the weeds here, but you guys are gonna have to bear with me. Vikings under Brian Flores play a ton of 2-eye safety looks, like 83%, play a ton of zone, 81% in week 1, also bring a lot of zone blitzes, and they play great run defense. So I don't think that we're going to see Jordan Mason do what he did to the Jets, or Christian McCaffrey if he plays. But per Rich Rebar, this is a great stat. Samuel been targeted on 28% of his routes against zone, only 17% against man. When he faces zone blitzes, he averages 2.3 yards per route run, which is like wildly high. And then against 2-eye safety looks, which again, the Vikings play a ton of, he leads the 49ers in target share with 26%. We saw Ayuk last week still shaking off the rust a little bit from the hold-in. Didn't really look all that good. And now we get a Vikings matchup here that's like prime for Deebo to smash. I also don't think they're going to use him as much as a runner. The more that I thought about it, just because Jordan Mason looks so good. Like I think when like early in the game, they were using him a lot. And then like Jordan Mason just was smashing and they're kind of like, we don't really need to use Deebo that much. Maybe 2, 3, 4 carries in this game, but not like 10 or whatever you saw last week. So I think we see a ton of Deebo kind of like in drag routes, short to intermediate spaces. And I think the upside here is just like massive. So I bet the over, I bet alts. I'm very much in on Deebo this week.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that's a great note. And that's one thing that Flores, everything, they blitz a ton, but it's always zone behind them. They actually play the highest rate of zone in the league last week. Some teams blitz a lot and it's man. Typically, that's not what Flores does. So that's a great call out. Like the weeds call out there. What do you got there, Slop? Any thoughts on Deebo here? Because I was talking to Connor early in the week. I'm like, why don't we wait for total yards? See if we can get something once we know for sure what's going on with CMC. But I think going at the receiving stuff alone is still pretty spot on.
No, you can do it. I did 15 plus rushing yards Monday night.
Nice.
And that was before CMC. I did not know. I just got lucky, I guess, because I was like, yeah, they're probably gonna throw him in, let him go. I didn't know that that they liked the Mason kid that much either. So that was a total luck call. And then he ended up rushing, I don't know how many times, like 6 or 7 times for 20-something yards. It's like, okay. But he's obviously involved. So if there's no CMC, which there's probably not, because I mean they knew Friday that he wasn't gonna play. So that, I mean, when you think about it, like how close could you possibly be if it was like 3 days before the game and they knew like, yeah, you're not playing. So there's I don't know. I mean, you got to get speculative, but that's what we are, right? We're speculators. So why wouldn't you bet on that, But yeah, anything, Tebow, like, because anything close to the line of scrimmage, I mean, his receptions are probably in play too, not just the yards.
For sure.
Like
especially if you think the game state is interesting, right? Another place where if you think that Minnesota's live a little bit here, then there's a shot for this to, they won actually this game last year. They won at home against the Niners. So it's not like, inconceivable that the Vikings can show a pulse here and compete. So, yeah, I mean, Shanahan shot that down so quick too. Like, what do you got? How does someone know that he's out next week when we just determined that he was out this week? But it seems like a spot where maybe they take it easy with him too. But yeah, I think, again, CMC stuff aside, I think the Debo stuff is kind of a banger. So good analysis, Connor. What do you got, Slap?
I'm going to say Devontae Adams, 60-plus receiving yards. It's plus 106 now. It's plus 108 earlier. But it's Devontae Adams. Like, he looked good last week. He was right there. I mean, it's 59 yards. I think the tight ends are probably in more trouble against Baltimore, like the Raiders, than the receivers. I think if you're going to move the ball, especially as an 8.5-point underdog, you're going to have to do it with Devontae Adams, and he's more than capable to do it. I'll steal your line. You're betting on talent here, because that's basically what you're doing. You're betting on talent, and Devontae Adams is still an elite receiver. They're a, 8-9-point dog. I don't think they're going to win the game. I don't think they're going to be that competitive, but at the same time, just, dude, you're in a trailing game script literally the entire day, and it's Devontae Adams, and all you need is 60 yards. Bad plus money. I'm in. I'll do that 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, I like it, Connor. I maybe have another same game parlay to come behind it, but I'll let you talk about Devontae first. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting look because, I mean, like you said, like he's talented. He's going to see a lot of targets. I think the Ravens secondary, I think it looks like Nate Wiggins is going to miss, right? So I think that there's some potential issues too. Like I think we were wanting to be a little bit lower on that defense that still I think is probably pretty good, but is not as good as they were, in years past. So I don't know. I'm interested in how this Raiders pass game shakes out. We saw Brock Bowers draw a ton of targets early or last week. I don't know if that's sticky week to week. We saw Jacoby Myers basically get none. I mean, Gardner Minshew still stinks, but it's good enough to get the ball to Devontae Adams. So yeah, I think 60 plus at plus money is not a bad look.
Yeah, especially after what Rice did to him last week.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, he cooked. I mean, yeah, I think game states matter a lot, and that's why I'm going to stay in the same game and give you the other side of it, and that's sorry, Slop. This is not typically, my lane. This is it's a joint play with Connor. Connor's in it with me.
We're going under.
We're going to go under on Lamar Jackson pass attempts.
Okay. Here's the thing. Before you go too much, I like over on Derrick Henry rush attempts. So I think.
There we go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think we're good. I think I can. This is an under I can get behind.
Okay. Yeah, just a different, same thing, said a different way. Looking at this a little bit, and Connor and I came to this separately and talked about it, and we both liked it. So we're on it together. But like pretty clear trend line that makes just a ton of sense when you look at how Ravens games have gone and what happens with Lamar Jackson's passing attempts. It is not like super complicated. I went back and looked at basically all the game logs and thinking about what happened in those games. And when you have a situation where the Ravens were typically big favorites, like they are here, like 8-point favorites, or scenarios where in the second half of the game, they totally had control. Like you had win probabilities north of 70% late in the game. He didn't even come close to 30 in a lot of them. Like week 1 last year, they boat raced Houston, 22 attempts. Game week 4, against DTR and the Cleveland Browns, they crushed them, 19 attempts. Next couple games really close, barely over. The next 5 games, they pummeled everybody. They won by at least a touchdown. Most attempts that he had in that 5-game span was 27. Right? We need him to stay under 30 here. And then next two spots, really close games. They needed like a late fourth quarter Zay Jones touchdown to beat the Chargers. They went to OT against the Rams. He went over in both those games. Next 2 weeks, pummel the Jags, pummel the Dolphins, 24 and 21. There's one instance all season long last season when this didn't hold, and that was on Christmas night when they crushed the Niners. He barely went over, but it was a scenario where they kind of had control of the whole game and they threw a little bit more than normal. So I absolutely love it here. And also, too, when you think of actually how these teams match up, the Raiders are good up front. They have a good defensive line. They have a good pass rush. And I have massive concerns about the Ravens' offensive line being able to hold up and protect Lamar all season long. So, like, it's actually a pretty good run blocking offensive line. So schematically, the best way for them to kind of dictate this game is to run the football anyway, right? So there's so many reasons why I think this makes a ton of sense. So FanDuel -114. This is readily available, everywhere. Builder, DraftKings, Caesars, MGM, no matter what. Connor, anything you want to add to it?
No, I think you nailed it. I think it was what I looked at was like not under in 9 of 14 wins, I think, last year in total. And so again, like, and that doesn't even factor in like how big are the wins, like how, like any of that stuff. I mean, we're getting in a situation here where I would just be pretty surprised to see the Ravens fall into negative game script, which is what we need to see Lamar like slinging a lot. Even neutral game script, they're going to run the ball plenty. So it's like, it's one of those things where I don't envision that happening. I think on the other side of the ball too, we saw the Raiders, like, even despite literally the Chargers last week were number one in like run stop win rate or something like that, or it was like early down run stopping. I mean, even then, like the Raiders were able to like move the ball a little bit, but it was like run, pass, and they were able to sustain drives, and like it led to like the Chargers having like 50 plays basically. And so if you get the Raiders holding onto the ball at all, like like literally just at all, you're probably getting like, again, minimal play volume on both sides here, which is exactly what we want.
Yeah, love it. Slob, is that okay?
That's beautiful.
All right, buddy.
I think they just feed Henry.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't try that. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't. I don't know. It feels right.
Where are we at on Henry carries? 17, 18, probably higher than that, actually. Let's see, rush attempts.
We got a good question here in the chat too, from
question.
Kyle. He said, how do you all handle under Lamar pass attempts with Henry over rush attempts? Are they so tightly correlated that we should always add the Henry leg? Or how do you think about that? Personally, I don't parlay stuff until it's necessary, or like I think we have a massive edge. In this sense, it depends on if you're paying a correlation tax too. I haven't done it. I do think that they are somewhat correlated for sure. So like if you're not paying correlation tax, which again, like you should just go to a parlay calculator, type in the two odds independently, and then you can see if whether or not the odds are the same as what you're getting or not. If they're worse, then you're paying some kind of correlation tax. So like if you're not paying correlation tax, I would say I would definitely play it, but it's not like an always play it type of thing. Like I would definitely still play the straights and then parlay it maybe for like, I don't know, a quarter unit or less if you feel really strong about it.
Yeah, FanDuel, you cannot parlay the rushing attempts, and I don't know.
Yeah, they won't let you do it.
So, I don't know about DraftKings, but typically DraftKings will definitely make you pay the tax on it. So yeah, I think it's a really good question. There's obviously systemic risk that the Raiders just bottom out so bad that there's just a shit ton of plays for the Ravens, right? And they run 70 plays, and you were directionally correct, but you're going to be a loser because that can happen too. So, I think that's actually basically like that could be a way to summarize all parlays, right? Like, it's just why especially uncorrelated things or things from other games, like you hate to be right and not get rewarded for it. So I think it's a fair question, but I think it's a spot where it makes a ton of sense. So, all right, Connor, what do you got? You got anything? Keep it going. Whatever you want to do. Normal, alts, ladders, whatever you got.
See, I have nothing else. I only had 2. I have like 6 other plays that I'm sitting on that like, I don't know. Like I go back and forth. I will say like, I just need to give we just need to address it here. Like if Malik Willis throws for 175 passing yards, I'm going to be on the streets. Like this is like, let's just go through this real quick. So we have Malik Willis, who was just traded from the Titans 2 weeks ago. I think it was like late August 27th or August 28th, who's now starting in his first career game as a Packer in a game against the Colts. I would be shocked We've so far have seen Malik Willis throw for 99, 80, and 50 yards as a passer in his 3 starts in the NFL. He's completed like a little over 50% of his passes. He has been absolutely dreadful. He takes sacks 1 out of every 5 dropbacks. So that means if he has 25 dropbacks, or he's going to be sacked 5 to 6 times, which Noonan, I'm sure you're licking your chops on the defensive side.
I haven't posted anything yet, but yeah.
I mean, it has to be coming here. I would be flabbergasted if they're dropping this guy back 30 to 35 times here, even in negative game script. I just feel like they're going to figure something else out. And so I like 165 passing yards. We have 139 projected from our guy who does projections, who is a Packers fan, John Paulson, who he's not biased always, but like for the Packers, he looks at things with a rose-colored glass, I would say, all the time.
And there's a tendency for those passing props or projections to be a little bit heavy.
Yep. Our passing props always skew high. Like our passing projections always skew high. I do not understand where this number comes from. Like, he has shown nothing in the NFL to prove he's a competent passer at all. Like 0%. He's like probably the 55th to 60th best quarterback in the league. If that. So I just don't get it. Again, I bet the under at open. I bet the alt under 150. I think that's still viable. I just think that they're going to run the ball a ton with Jacobs, probably get Jaden Reed involved a bunch, probably, run Malik Willis a bunch. And he's winding up with like maybe 20, 25 passing attempts for $125.
Which would be a career high by a lot.
A career high. Yeah. Is it playable current lines? Absolutely. Yeah. I just already have way too much at 174, 175 and every pick'em map. I said to Stu Monotone today, I said, Book of Connor, the Connor Sportsbook here would line this at like 150 passing yards, 26 pass attempts, and 13 completions. And that still might be too high, to be honest. So
I love it. This is a good question too. How are the Colts only -2? We touched on this at length on our Wednesday show with Ed Fang. Look, they were like -4.5, or it was like Packers -4.5 in look headlines, right? And they showed a pulse against an Eagles team that I think people really respect. So it's really hard for any sort of model, algorithm, whatever line setting situation you're looking at to move it that far, right? Through 3, through 0, again, at some point back through 3 again. That's just unprecedented to have a line move 7 points on a road team that's coming off of a week 1 loss, right? So it's like almost the algorithm can't handle that much of an adjustment because it's just kind of unprecedented. So that's part of it, right? Like, in Connor and I's point, I think on the show was that if you're making like a matchup based, take and analyzing the game, it's hard not to think that the Colts, anything less than 3 is the right side. And I kind of agree with that. So it's, they not a great secondary. They lost their best corner too, but again, it's not Malik Willis is not the guy that's going to pick on the Colts and make them be punished for losing Juju Brents. So.
It would have to be like, I'm getting like, my only nervous reaction here is like, I'm getting like Anthony Richardson, Shane Steichen flashbacks from 2 years ago, but that was a player who had the entire preseason and offseason to play with him in a system that I think is very quarterback friendly. Like, guys are just running open. They're giving him gimmies. Like, Jordan Love was a straight up disaster for the first half of last season until they figured out how to make him hum. Like, we think in 2 weeks of practice that they're just going to figure out how to make Malik Willis an NFL quarterback. Like, I don't know. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. The discourse online is very strange. I was getting shit from a Packers beat reporter, and I had to like kind of be like, respectfully, I disagree with everything you're saying. But he hit me with the the Talladega Nights gif. It's like just because you say respectfully doesn't mean you can say whatever you want thing.
Does?
I thought that's how it works.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's literally exactly how it works.
Oh man.
Just say no offense.
No offense. Yeah. Respectfully, that is a terrible answer. That's
that's what I thought. Malik Willis is he's just not good. That's his biggest problem. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just not good. And it happens. What are you gonna do? I mean, he's a world-class athlete, not a great quarterback, not even good one. Just
correct.
Not. So, yes. And that's what happens. Like, so, but the problem for him is he plays quarterback. So, yeah, it's one of those things,
Yeah, and then
rock and a hard place.
They asked, what's percent chance he gets benched? I don't know, 25%. I mean, I don't know.
You know what that depends on? Not even him. It depends on the other guy. You know what I mean? Like
Clifford,
yeah.
Not great.
I don't know.
It's not great. They like willfully put themselves in the situation too by going out and trading for him late in the season to say, hey, no, this is the guy. This is the guy we're going to have behind Jordan Love, which is a tough scene. So, yeah, almost got slopped. Interested on and under there, Connor. You did a good job selling that.
I would go Colts overs rushing.
Yeah. Or what about Josh Jacobs rushing attempts? That's pretty low, honestly. I was eyeing that.
Yeah, you have to go attempts though. Can't go yards.
No.
I was thinking about that earlier today because man, that could be a 15 for 35 day. You know what I mean? Like,
looks like no DeForest Buckner though for the Colts, which
definitely
helps. That definitely helps Jacobs' case. But again, it's another situation where there's overall offensive systemic risk of they run 35 plays, and it's like it just is. There's ball control on the Colts side, and you want to have Colts rushing instead of anything tied to the Packers. But look, the Packers receivers are still probably too high too. The only problem with that is catch and run, defender falls. Domo mentions someone trips on a sprinkler, right? Like those are your outs for like someone breaking a big play, and then you're holding your breath a little bit. So yeah, I can't believe
I live for that.
Yeah, we gotta set the line for Willis rushing yards versus passing yards. Well, right now it's only 30 rushing yards, and then what is like 170 passing yards. So they're lining it 140. I'll line it at 100 to passing yards, 100 more passing yards than rushing yards, which that might be too much. I'll go. Sharp money came in. We're looking at 90 now. So
there you go. 89.5. If anyone wants a side action for Connor, find him on Twitter. So, Slop, what else you got? Anything else? Start to get weird.
Kind of. Greg Dortch, 4+ receptions, plus 146. I'm checking it right now to make sure it's still there. I'm just looking at my bets on FanDuel. So just give me 1 second, and it looks like 4+ receptions, 140. So we're in the neighborhood. Yeah, that's good. I think he catches 4 balls. That's my analysis. I think that he's more involved in that's what I think happens. When you kind of look at things, I think the Cardinals do get behind. I think the Rams are good. I think this game could be a back and forth type thing. You saw the Rams be able to move the ball in Detroit, so there was that. That's all I got. I mean, they're going to have to throw it, and Dortch is somebody that Murray obviously likes because if you watch Sunday, I mean, I know they're trailing, so there is that, but there's the same exact game script could break out this week. So it's not like, they're playing somebody different. It could be the same situation. So, even if it's not, I still think he catches 4.
I like it. You could have stopped it. I think he catches 4 balls.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's what I think. That's all I know is I think he catches 4 balls.
I mean, 70% route participation in week 1, Connor. Like that's pretty good. That's like a good threshold for a pass catching tight end. So he's didn't get a lot of targets, but he's in the mix.
Yeah, didn't they? So the Rams had 2 offensive linemen cleared to play right this week. Havenstein is back, right? Like I thought he was out for sure. I thought there was multiple guys out.
Well, they put other guys on the IR, but Havenstein is back, which is good because the guy AJ Sia or whoever was in, he had his PFF pass blocking grade was single digits. I don't know how many times I've ever seen that.
Single digits?
That's bad.
He allowed pressure on almost half of his snaps. I mean, it was like, is this guy going to be playing again? The problem was because I was trying to find Cardinals sacks, but the Cardinals don't get any sacks. They have the worst team to take advantage of that. So I was trying to find that and didn't even, wasn't even going to work. But yeah, that guy
pulled this guy from Bishop Sycamore or whatever, or where did they find this guy?
Like the Malik Willis of offensive tackles, basically.
Oh boy, say no more. I mean, this is
not great.
That's tough. Yeah, but also Stafford gets the ball out so quick. Like he's
for sure.
His first read is within a second of the line of scrimmage there. I also think that if they feel good about the offensive line, I think they're going to try and go run heavy right off the rip. I really do. They ran 34 and 28 times last year against the Cardinals. They felt that was, they clearly felt last year that was their advantage. They might feel the same way this year. I don't know, obviously, but if they do, we'll see how it goes. It could lead to some interesting game, like them just doing nothing for like a quarter and a half until they're like, all right, fuck it, we got to throw every play. In which case you can probably live bet some Rams receiving overs at that point if they really do try and go run heavy and like aren't good. Or if they're good, then I don't know.
You live bet Cardinals linebackers.
Yeah, exactly. Live bet some tackles.
Yeah, because they're like we've touched on it all the time. Like the Rams are very much a game script dependent team. They're a little hard pre-flop to bet because they will kind of dictate based off of the matchup and what's going on in terms of they'll be very run heavy if it's the right fit for them. Or we saw last week, it just was 21 targets to Cooper Kupp and stop it till you can't. And the game ended. Like they didn't actually, the Lions never actually stopped it. The game just kind of ended. So that's a good live betting opportunity for the week, I think, for sure, is whatever's going on in that game. I got one more, but I'm trying to I'm it's ready to rip, but I'm trying to figure out how to actually bet it. So I'm going to hold off. Probably be sent to subscribers. There's a couple different ways to play it. I'm not quite sure exactly. But one thing I really wanted today, I'll give this a little bit of a tease for people. It's not currently out because we're waiting on the status of Russell Wilson. I want Justin Fields rushing overs, Justin Fields rushing ladders, whatever we can do there. Denver played man at the 5th highest rate in the league last week. Geno had a 34-yard run, which Geno Smith had a 34-yard run. He's not mobile, but he's not like I got 34-yard runs in my bag kind of mobile. Fields 14 attempts last week, 10 design runs and 4 scrambles. Pittsburgh lowest pass rate over expectation in the league. This is who they want to be. Against Denver, the game script's not going to get out of hand here. I think there's just no way that Fields isn't topping like double-digit runs. So like rushing attempts over is going to be fantastic. Alt overs on that, longests, whatever we want to do for Fields. I think this is what he's going to do, and I think it's a great look and a great place to go after it. So correlated some Alex Singleton tackles and Fields rushing props. I think make a ton of sense together. So Fields, I want it.
Yeah, I was thinking about some. Have they posted George Pickens props yet?
I think so.
Because it was like weirdly not out for a while. And I don't see any. My angle is under, but like under on receptions, probably not receiving yards. Which I don't know. We'll see what the number's at because he's an absolute dog. So
he probably gets shadowed.
Yeah, he'll draw Sertan though, and he's getting passes from Justin Fields, who stinks. So like if he's got someone good on him, like I just don't think he's going to see the ball that much. Like maybe 5-6 targets, and half of them will be in the dirt. And then the other 2 will have to make like 6 catches for. So
yeah. All right, I like those takes. All right, boys, let's start to build some ladders, some same game parlays, uncorrelated parlays. Whatever we want to do here. I'll get some defensive stuff here at the end. Sacks went 4-1 on the show last week. So if you tailed the 5 sack bets that I gave out, you had a good week. They were all plus money as well. So we're trying to do it again. I got a lot of sack looks this week. So, all right, uncorrelated slop. I'll give you the floor first. What do we got? Or whatever you want to do. Ladders, whatever you got.
I mean, you almost got to throw J-Mo in there. 100%. Just to have them. I mean, you have to, right?
You got to do something.
Yeah. So, I mean, we can start there, but that shouldn't count, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's built in.
He's just already in.
Yeah. It's like the underwear in a swimsuit, just
literally. I mean,
jump in the show. It's right. It holds you tight.
I know we already said this guy's name, but why not like Goff 3+ touchdowns plus 230? Just because, I mean, are they going to be able to run it in on the Buccaneers? I'm getting their defensive stats right now, but I don't think so. You know what I mean? So they're still going to score, though, the Lions, and they still have multiple options when they get into the red zone that involve Goff throwing and not Montgomery running. So for that, plus 230 for 3? It's not like he's never done that before.
Yeah, I'm into it. So what do we want to go for Jameson? 80 yards, 90 more? What are you thinking, Slop?
I would say we'd have to go pretty big because we want this to be,
we want to make $1 million, right? We want to get to $1 million.
We want to get to $1 million. I mean, I'll give you another one. You guys are gonna hate. I know it for a fact, but yeah, last year the Bucs gave up 23 passing touchdowns. That's not terrible. So there is that, but at the same time, it is Goff, and I don't think they can run it in. I think they're gonna have to throw it. So yeah, we're sticking with it. So JMO 90 plus, and then Goff 3+ touchdowns.
All right, it's a good place to start.
I mean, it feels right? Last season, the Buccaneers 5 rushing touchdowns to running backs. That's it. Nobody gave up less. No one gave up less. So, but I still think they get scored on. They're not, like we already said, they're not elite. So,
Monotone calls it out in the chat here, Connor. We can bring this back, add another leg here. McMillan, talking about him as an uncorrelated parlay guy. Let's bring that into the fold here a little bit. Jalen McMillan, I think he had I was looking at him too, 17.5, 18-yard averaged at the target last week. Mostly ran out of the slot. His line as is too short, probably at 29.5, and probably a pass-heavy game script. This kid can play. Like, this is,
he's good.
Legit, all right? Legit good.
From Washington.
Out of the slot here. Yeah, yep. I think definitely considered the third guy in Washington, but I don't think that's even fair. I think they're all
that's not his fault.
Yeah, the other two were just
they're just good.
So what can we get? We threw a 40+ on McMillan, a 50+ on McMillan, with again the 18-yard average at the target in the first game. And again, I know that was the Commanders, but that's how you're going to have to attack the Lions as well. That's how they were attacked all last year. It's a better secondary, but that's how Stafford attacked them last week too. So what happens, Connor, if we had McMillan at like 50+?
Well, do you want the uncorrelated, or do you want just 50+?
Which is that? Well, yeah. What's his reception line? 2.5.
Yeah, so it's 2.5. So I think 40 probably makes more sense if you want to do the uncorrelated. If you want just the 50+, it's +240. Which I don't know. I mean, so that's the tough part here, because because if we got 40+ and under 2.5, then we're looking at 196 to 1 already with the Goff 3+ and Jameson 90+. So we're getting pretty close to $1 million. Well, we're not close, but we're.
It's a good start.
We're getting there. So I like that.
Great game to have
40+.
I agree.
That's kind of fun. Sweet. And then we gotta talk about our guy here, Noonan. I think the new uncorrelated king, at least for now, is going to be Xavier Worthy, because they're lining his reception prop at 3.5, and I don't think that this guy can earn targets, to be honest.
No.
I mean, they kind of his long touchdown was kind of bullshit. Like, it was like some guy fell down, or he was I think just schemed basically wide open. Super fast, obviously. Specifically in this game too, I think they run the ball a shitload, and it's going to be run, deep shot, which is perfect for this, because he's going to see 3 targets, and they're all going to be 50 yards downfield, and it's going to be electric. So maybe he has a carry too. That's fine. Yeah. But
did it last week, had a 20-yard carry, or whatever.
That's going to count for them. You know what I mean? As we got the ball in his hands. You know what I'm saying? So if it happens to be 2 extra rushes and not throws, then there's no chance he's catching 4 balls.
Yeah. I mean, just by himself, straight up on FanDuel, under 3.5 receptions, 70+, it's +1440.
Did you want to go under 3.5, 70+? That's what we're ripping here?
Whew. I mean, last week he had 3 touches for 68 yards, so we're almost there. You know what I mean? So 2 catches for 47 yards, 1 rush for 21 yards. So, obviously we need a little bit more juice than that, but against the Bengals, I think we can get it.
Love it. All right, cool. So we are up to we need one more juicy leg here.
I got a few. Can I give you another one in the same game? I'll give you another. I'll give you the Bengals side of this. Okay. All right. So Jamar Chase is rookie year, ADOT 12.9 yards. I just cooking people downfield. Dip next year, more normal, 9.8, still alpha. Last year, 9.1. Still really elite. Last week versus New England, 6.3 yards, averaged up the target. Just a guy that just moving the chains, right? I think they're going to be able to, without T. Higgins, they're going to scheme definitely to take everything in front of him, take Chase out of play. I think he's gone under his line here the last couple times against them. Over 6.5 receptions, under 71.5 yards for Jamar Chase. By itself is like 7-1. Just with Worthy alone, it's 115. So if you just wanted the 4 legs of Worthy and Chase, it's 115-1 on FanDuel. But if we throw it in with the Detroit stuff, it might get pretty wonky here.
Yeah, we're at I don't even know what this number is at this point, to be honest. But
well, every 3 is a comma, Connor. So.
That's true. I mean, we're at like, let's hear. I think it's like $40 to win $1 million. So we still need a little bit more. We got to get that down to like, I think $5 or less.
Yeah, Burrow could throw 2 touchdowns. I mean, he could throw 3.
All right.
3's 450. But I mean, 2 is plus 118, which feels kind of like, I don't know. I mean, Lamar had one against them last week. I mean, that was kind of a fluky one.
Yeah.
The likely one. I mean, he beat somebody and then ran it in. But I mean, I don't know. Jamar Chase is pretty good. You know, I think we've all heard of him.
Heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
Heard of
but,
the
I mean,
guy.
2 touchdowns, especially in the situation they're in, the 0-1 thing, I definitely buy into. You know what I mean? In terms of like, you're just going to get a team that's ready, you know, like a lot of times.
Yeah. We also might have just sent JMO to the Shadow Realm. He's questionable.
He's playing.
Yeah,
that's just gamesmanship, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's always playing.
Aren't we all questionable?
Yeah,
what's happening tomorrow.
When you think about it, yeah, that's very deep, Noonan.
So I'm just saying.
So
we're all a little bit questionable. So
we're all day to day.
The 2+ passing touchdowns for Burrow, or do we want?
I got more spice, Connor. Do you have more spice?
Yeah, let's get more spice first. We don't got to go diving into the Burrow bag.
I mean, I would love a Debo alt if we can contribute that. Like, not even that crazy, maybe 70 plus. Like,
sure.
we don't need that much more. We need like a +2, 300, something like that. Let's see here. We get. I mean, if we go Debo 100 plus, then the odds are broken. It won't even let me do that. 90 won't let me do 90. Well, let's see here.
Even better. It's making us money, saving us. Like, you don't have to do all that for $1 million.
Yeah, just keep it down here. You just have to do 60 yards. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh, this whole thing is like, it's pretty difficult to get like directly at $1 million here. Like, that's what like the annoying part is, you know? It's
well, just put 1 million in the to win box.
Yeah. Why did you add a bunch of zeros? Okay.
And that brings up what the risk would be.
So we're at 698 to win $1 million now with Debo 100 yards, which obviously, guys, I will tweet this whole thing out after, attach it to the show. So that way everyone can tell. I think we're pretty good here. Do we want to add anything else? I mean, 698 solid, but
I got more legs. I got more stuff. I'm ready to fire today.
Yeah.
I got a couple. I have a couple more things that I like a lot. Like
it's
a lot.
Okay, well then let's you cook. Let's go.
It's gonna be 25 cents to get $1 million.
Just a straight up ladder, or just an alt line.
Yeah.
Another one that Monotone touched on there in his message to us too. Shaheed, absolute dog, 59-yard catch in like the first play of the game for the Saints. He is 80 plus receiving yards. It was on Caesars is like 6-1. I don't know what the FanDuel number is because I think you're building on FanDuel.
Yeah.
Like 80 plus. He had, what did he have last week? He was almost there and barely played in the fourth quarter. 26% target per route run, 20-yard average depth of target against, they're like 7-point dogs against the beat up. Again, I know they look good last week, but this is not a full strength secondary for Dallas. It takes some shots there too. So 80 plus for Shaheed, I think is pretty nice. Again, you don't have to get too wonky or any uncorrelated stuff there too, but just adding some alts on him is nice. But I got one more uncorrelated that I love too.
All right. We might break FanDuel if I put that in there. It might be like 10 cents to win, but let's hear it. Maybe we can slim down anything too. But
maybe we can bring Debo down to like 70 or something.
Yeah, that's true too. We can bring him down a little bit. All right. So what's your last one? Let's hear it.
Average depth of target for Houston receivers last week. And these guys all played basically 85 to 90% of the snaps on Stroud's dropbacks. So they were all cooking. Nico, 16.3. Tank Dell, 16.6. Right, the guys were taking shots. Steph Diggs, 1.7. Steph Diggs, what's he doing? This is 6 targets, caught all of them, 33 yards. His longest reception went for 10 yards. So Steph Diggs, over 4.5 receptions, under 53.5 receiving yards. He literally did this by margin last week. Is basically 6-1. So however you want to play that, I'm going to play it by itself. I might want to bring some Bears back in their side. I have to see what's going on. No Bears. Some of the Bears stuff's not out yet because we're waiting on the Rome situation. But like DJ Moore had like a 4.4 ADOT last week, which is really weird. That might change if Rome is not playing. Maybe they need to push the ball down the field more with him. But yeah, I don't know. I like the dig stuff here quite a bit. Under 4.5 or over 4.5, under 53.5.
Yeah, this is pretty good here. I like it actually. It's a great look. I know that Prop Bomb played his under at 53, and I was looking at that. I think that's pretty solid. Like his under just for straight yardage. I think that was pretty interesting look there. We're at 52 cents to win $1 million. I think that'll do. I think that's low enough. You know, we can afford to place 52-cent bet. Placing it only 12 legs, guys. Not a big deal.
That means $5 to win 10 million. Is what you said?
Yeah. And
they'll only let you win $1 million, though.
No, they'll only let me win $1 million.
Yeah,
need to talk to customer support. See how we can get this to $1 billion. That would be electric. It would be so fun. But yeah, $1 million. I mean, that'll do. I placed it. I will tweet it out here. Just to recap: Goff 3 passing touchdowns, Jameson 90 yards, McMillan uncorrelated under 2.5 40 yards, Worthy uncorrelated under 3.5 70 yards, Chase uncorrelated under 71 over 6.5, Shaheed 60 plus, Samuel 80 plus, Diggs uncorrelated under 50 at 3.5 over 4.5. Technically 3 or 4 of them are uncorrelated, so it's actually only like 8 legs. So that's
it's almost
nothing.
Boys. That's like a dinger parlay. It's 8 legs, dude.
Literally, I mean,
we just need 8 things to happen, basically.
I mean, look, a lot of you are watching right now. Imagine not having this bet. You want to tune in next Friday when the 3 of us are all millionaires and 100 people in the chat are. And FanDuel's not sure what the hell. 52 cents. FanDuel's not sure how they're going to operate in Q4 because we just absolutely are shutting them down. And look,
Rovell would be all up in our DMs asking for, articles. Like, it's going to be great. So, just be there with us, and I'll probably play a couple of these like for fun together anyways, especially the uncorrelated ones, especially the golf ones, just anyways, because I do legit think that individually all the uncorrelated ones are pretty good looks, and all you need is one of them to hit to pay off the rest. We hit a bunch of them last year, and I mean they're just the system's broken, like let's get it.
Yeah, I mean, 4-leggers. Yeah, you're not even getting too crazy with some of these. Are 4 legs, and you're getting up to 100 plus to 1. I mean, that's pretty bonkers. You don't need a bunch of stuff to happen. You don't need a 12-leg money line parlay that you're laying $600,000, $800,000 on to win to take home crazy amounts of money. So let's do it.
Do you guys want to? Looks like we Slop. You have 7 minutes here. We could for an hour, or you got to wrap.
I got 7.
All right, let's rip through some questions here. We normally do this a little more, but we got a little excited here with our $1 million parlay. So, all right, Jonathan S. Props 414, 23 units week 1. Wow, shout out Jonathan. That's better than I did. That's good to you. Tim Holt. Let's see here. Boys must be working in the OT in the lab, churning out these props. I mean, that's good. That's Slop. Slop was brushing his hair. There you go. That was all the delay here before the show.
Getting ready, baby.
Noonan, any Wan'Dale Robinson thoughts? 35.5.
What did he have? Like 11 targets last week?
Yeah, great match.
This will not surprise you, but my Wan'Dale Robinson thoughts in the slot are Mikey Sanders tackles if they ever post that. So, let's get it. Let's cook.
Oh my gosh. Totals laughably low. CJ Stroud 300 plus as free as it gets. Jeff, that seems like a Slop take. Have you looked at any Stroud stuff, Slop?
Not really. I'm scared of passing props for the time being for quarterback because of what we talked about. I think pre-show, something's happening, dude. Like it might be the kickoff rule. I'm guessing it is, but like look at the passing yards last week. 2 guys went 300 plus. Like that's crazy town. Like that. It's supposed to be a passing league. You know what I mean? Like that's why I'm watching. We're not kidding. So yeah, I would kind of hang out. And just to see what happens. We'll just give it a couple weeks. You know what I mean? Obviously we're going to keep betting, but I'll go with receivers rather than the quarterbacks themselves.
Yeah, totally fair. Pacheco 100 plus rushing. Yeah, I think definitely interested. TBD, trying to figure out the best way to play it. I think Noonan and I are chatting on the side. Jonathan S. Malik Willis is not enough of a quarterback from Hunter. Huss, our sides and totals guy, said that like on Tuesday or Monday, which is fantastic. So shout out to Hunter doing a great job there. Let's see here. Mixon over 17.5 rushing attempts. We talked about that a little bit. You saw like all the work. They said this week that they're going to keep feeding him. Noonan, any Mixon takes?
Yeah, I like it. I do. And play it 17.5 is a lot, but I think they're in a good spot against the Bears, and especially if they don't have Rome. And I think we're going to see better days for sure from Caleb Williams. But I think that this is a real team with the Texans too. So yeah, I mean, why would you not just continue to put in his belly?
Yeah, no, for sure. Totally makes sense. Willis will also get a fair amount of the rush share. Talking about Malik. Yeah, it's also true. That's another reason not to play the Jacobs rushing over attempts. I think my bags are packed in that game. I just need to leave it alone and stop betting Malik Willis unders. Yeah. Otherwise, I'm going to be pretty upset if someone breaks a long one randomly. Let's see here. McMillan, Gabe Davis, 2 uncorrelated parlay guys. Also cashed Heat last week. Shout out Monotone. Crushing that stuff. Gabe Davis is an interesting one too. He saw I don't know, I guess Brian Thomas is more of I think their number one target at this point. And so Gabe Davis is probably a good uncorrelated look still. I mean, he was the uncorrelated king of Buffalo. And so now if we're getting that same kind of usage, I'm in.
Yep. Yeah, I think both those guys are. I think probably Brian Thomas and Gabe Davis end up being guys we touch on at some point in this segment next year or later this year.
Yeah. Chris Papadopoulos. Oh, that's a fun name. Any thoughts on Jalen Naylor, Brandon Powell? Both are lined on legals at 2.5 plus money to the under. I like both overs, honestly. I would need to dig into it more because Naylor didn't play much because he was injured. Brandon Powell played more last week. Naylor was playing over Powell, though. It was like the clear number 3. Addison's out. So how much does that change on a week? I'm going to have to dig in, see the practice report, see if there's any coach speak on how much Naylor's going to play because he's the move there. You can play overs on his receiving yards, I think. I just don't know what that is. I've been waiting for that. So definitely a good shout out. Definitely something to pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure. That's a good call up. Yeah, last box score last week for both guys was not very exciting, but different dynamic.
Love it. Noonan, any sack stuff to take us home?
Yeah, sacks. Played one, it's dead. Can't do it. We want to get Alex Highsmith for the Steelers. He's going to come out at these are mostly DraftKings guys, to be fair. That's why I don't make them official plays because DraftKings is kind enough to line quarter sacks. So if the guy gets a half sack, we win. Most other places are booking full sacks or a half. And then if he shares a sack, we push that. We don't want to push necessarily, but Highsmith's going to eat. You're going to have either no Garrett Bowles for Denver or beat up Garrett Bowles with a bad ankle. Highsmith is just a massive, it's just a stud who underperformed last year. And I think we'll see that reflected in his line. Jalen Carter, Monday Night Football, up the middle against a absolutely abysmal Falcons offensive line in week 1. That was massively part of the problem that we saw going on there. Part of why you saw, thankfully, a lot of Kirk and pistol and shotgun stuff like that. I think Jalen Carter eats this week as well. We're going to go with Dorrance Armstrong for the Commanders. Again, we want to find a way to get home on Daniel Jones. Armstrong is the way. Great week 1. Nice fit here in the system coming over from Dallas. Knowing Dan Quinn's system well, I think he eats and gets on the board this week. Those are probably my 3 favorites. Maybe Jermaine Johnson as well would be my 4th. Jermaine Johnson from the Jets. We know probably a lot of passing for Tennessee. Levis left to take sats. Johnson's just a guy that I want to buy on year 3, starting to make some steps forward. He's going to be out there all the time, and he's going to get home. So Jermaine Johnson, Jalen Carter, Alex Highsmith, and Dorrance Armstrong all get on the board with sacks this week.
Love it. Let's ride. I know some people, I think Jen maybe parlayed all them or someone else.
A couple people parlayed them last week and made some 23, 24-1 hitters. So it's nice. Good to see.
Yeah. Also, I'm excited to tweet this out, this parlay out, because usually I got Knish, like Joey Knish, in my mentions, talking shit. But now I see he's shilling some sports book and zone parlays. So,
oh my gosh,
eat it, Uncle K. I don't want to hear it anymore. So no more trolling me now that he's shilling some books.
Yeah, disingenuous SOB. Finally,
we love him. All right.
Parlays get such a bad name these days, dude. Come on. They just gotta be big enough, and like I said, they gotta be insignificant enough risk wise to not even matter. And then to me, they're fun. You know what I mean? They're scratch off at this point.
It's on the shirt, Slop. It's on your shirt, buddy. Who cares?
Oh, no big deal.
Just let it rip, man. So
nice one.
Love it. All right, right on the dot hour. Appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Again, subscribe wherever you're watching. 4for4 Bets on the YouTube channel. Move the Line is the podcast in your podcast feed on Friday evening. Subscribe so you don't miss a show. Come back on Fridays. We'll do it again, 3 p.m. Eastern next week. And you can get the game-by-game previews, 3:30 Eastern on Wednesdays as well. If you want to bet side totals with us, get a little bit more hand-in-the-dirt football stuff as well. So appreciate everyone hanging out with us. Again, 4for4.com/plans. Get the betting sub for Connor and Slot. I'm Ryan. We'll see y'all next week. Thanks, everyone.